So I hear you saying that there is righteous anger that needs to be stewarded. Like anger itself is an emotion that God gives us, but we can't steward it from our flesh.
No.
We can't just steward it from our emotions, but it should be guided it has to be submitted to God.
Right.
And one thing I thought about before we move on is the movie The Apostle. We were watching that yesterday.
Watching it last night, yeah.
And that man could preach. He has some issues with his flesh.
He had some issues with his
But
flesh.
when he got angry,
he got that bat and hit the guy in the head.
yeah, he did.
And granted, I understand that his wife and the situation, extramarital,
but it was him and not the righteousness of God.
It was him,
and not the righteousness of God.
Yes.
So in everything we do, it still has to be the righteousness of God. And so if you do fall, though, because there's a lot of shame that comes with, when you do, act out in anger or, there's a lot of embarrassment that's associated with it. And those highlights we'd like to forget.
Right.
And so if you're a man who's struggling with your anger, the thing that I would say is, just know that there is a course correction, and we're going to get to that.
Right.
But you have great company of men who fell because of anger. And sometimes you can't fix it. Sometimes people lose their lives. Sometimes divorces happen. Sometimes your kids are estranged from you. Sometimes you lose your job because of it. Right. Sometimes the loss can't be recouped in that way. Right. But just be encouraged, and there's always something that God has planned.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about the man who fell among thieves. We're still talking about falling.
Samaritan.
Falling into lust, falling into anger, falling. These are the falls.
Yeah, the man who fell.
And that's Luke 10:30.
Yeah, with the parable where Jesus talks about the Good Samaritan and the man that fell among thieves. The man didn't ask for it. He didn't ask to be robbed. He didn't ask to be beaten.
So some men are
He didn't ask. Sometimes things happen to you and they fall on you. And because they fall on you, that is a result of hardships or the actions of other people.
Right.
And that's another dynamic.
Exploitation.
Things that happen to us that affect us.
Right.
And we didn't ask for
it.
We didn't go out seeking it.
Right.
We were just minding our own business. There are men out there that have been abused sexually.
Right.
They didn't ask for it.
Right.
They were just little boys trying to play in the yard, and another male adult just fell as they came upon them as if they were prey.
Like the man in the story.
100%. Or you're in these neighborhoods where fatherless homes and gang and people have gang activity. These violent individuals, and what they do is they create other violent predators, and because they want
the hood. Now we're talking about the hood.
They want they're in need of acceptance, and now they fall prey to this culture of violence and disrespect. These are things. The Samaritan he was going about his business, and it just fell upon them, and that happens too. That's a reality.
Right.
The issue is how do we recover?
Right. There's so much injustice to that, though. We're going to get to that. But just taking a moment, and even though it's not your fault, like you said, it's your responsibility to recover. But it's okay to acknowledge that you fell among thieves. You fell among people who exploited you, who took advantage of you. And that has injured you. Right. And that has caused you to show up differently in relationships in the church. Right. And it's okay to understand that it wasn't right and you fell. You didn't ask for it.
And I think the biggest trauma, the biggest hardship is that the lie that has been perpetuated is that men cannot acknowledge that it actually happened. And we have to live with that and not say anything. We suffer in silence.
The injustice, yeah.
And I think that is the most damaging part that eats at the inside of our core and our subconscious. That we can't acknowledge that was wrong.
Right.
That shouldn't have happened.
Right.
Uncle whoever shouldn't have done that.
Right.
I disagree with that.
Right.
And calling it a thing.
Right.
And saying and acknowledging.
Right.
I think
validation.
More people would be liberated if we just acknowledge the fact that was wrong.
Because what happens is you fall into the ideology that something's wrong with me.
Yeah,
so when you've become the prey of someone, now you think I'm broken, I deserve this, I'm not good enough, or that just becomes the narrative.
You know what? I just got a revelation of something. Is that if we are incapable of holding a lie, and it has an impact on us.
Right.
If we are incapable of not forgiving people, if we don't forgive, it has an effect on us. Why wouldn't being harmed
not have an effect on us,
and not having to say anything about it or validate it not have an effect on us? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
If we hold in a lie, holding in a lie does have an effect on people. It eats people to their core. Not forgiving people
eats them to the core.
Yeah. Being treated unjustly. And being harmed. And we cannot acknowledge it.
We can't bring justice to it.
Eats us to the core.
The injustice of it.
Right.
The injustice of it. Because what happens, like I said, you rationalize that. Because the dissonance, and now you make sense of it, and kids make sense of it as, I deserve that. Or God doesn't love me, he wasn't there. Or, so you begin to get these ideas and these perceptions of yourself that God never meant for you to have.
Listen,
so it's so damaging.
That's so disrespectful.
You can fall into among thieves. They steal your innocence. They steal your security. They steal your, sense of hope that the world is pure.
And you've been living with that for 30 years. And then your victim has the audacity to say, just get over it. And you're supposed to take what you've been holding on to for 30 years. And you're supposed to get over it within a week.
And you've fallen, and you can get up, but you have fallen.
But you have fallen.
So your self-esteem has fallen. Your sense of safety has fallen.
Your physicality, you got up. You getting through it, and you've developed as a man. But yet,
falling parts of you
on the inside has been torn down.
Whereas they were tending to his outward
needs.
His infirmities. There were deep infirmities that were not dealt with from people who've fallen among thieves, and they're takers. The Bible says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So when you fall among thieves, you're falling among people who are selfish. They don't care about you. The violence, they go off on you because they had a bad day, or they take out their sexual appetite on you, or whatever it is. And that becomes your burden to pay. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that, because it's easy to heal a broken arm, but it goes unnoticed when there is
a wounded mind,
a wounded and emotional,
wounded heart.
Soul that's been cracked, because they fell among thieves. And lastly, Mephibosheth.
Ooh.
This kind of goes with on a caregiver level.
Here's so Mephibosheth was dropped. He was dropped because of his nurse trying to get out of the house quickly because Jonathan had been killed. And so he was dropped, which caused his legs to be broken and he was disabled as he grew older. So there are things that equally so that are done to you that are outside of your control that still affect you. And the caveat with Mephibosheth is that in a way David was used to make him whole in another way. It wasn't his physicality that made him whole. But the fact that his love, David's love for Jonathan, carried over to Mephibosheth.
Right.
And as long as David was alive, Mephibosheth had a place at David's table.
And can I say this so I won't forget? And he remained crippled.
Yes.
So that means that sometimes your parents don't come back. Sometimes you don't get that relationship with your father. Sometimes you don't get that relationship with your mother. But there's restoration. You may remain crippled. They may have dropped you, and now you have an identity issue.
Right.
You have low self-esteem. You feel like an orphan. You feel like, and that's why some people join gangs, and that's why people, do what they do in this life, and it may not change. Every parent is not coming back.
Right.
Foster or not. Your parents can live in the next city.
Right.
You will remain crippled. Mephibosheth remained crippled. Right. And so you may have been dropped. You may have fell because you've been dropped at birth or by your caregivers or by your family, and you feel like the black sheep, and you feel all alone, and that is true.
Right. You know what the good thing came to my mind, I think I heard someone say this, as long as Mephibosheth pulled his seat up to the table, no one knew his state.
Right. I love that.
Everybody at the table needed to eat.
Right.
Everybody at the table were scooted up to the table and had opportunity to get whatever was on the table.
Yes.
And David provided an opportunity that he was at the same table and they were all eating the same meal.
Right.
And which tells us that whoever God allows you to be in those people's presence that are able to supplement what has been done to you.
Right.
You are at a table where they're treating you with love and care and concern that you belong at the table.
Right.
And you're not out of sorts. They don't see your cripple. They don't see your inability.
Right.
We're all eating at the table together.
Right.
And if anyone is able to prepare a table that you're able to sit at, and we are all, because when a meal in those times was a communal, covenantal type of thing. So when we all sat at the table to eat, it wasn't just by, you are at the king's table.
Absolutely.
It's by the intentions of the king.
Okay, the king's table.
The king's table, by the intentions of the king.
Yes.
So if anyone who is in a position of authority or a position of meaning in your life, and they put you at a place where you're eating at the table with them, they are not looking at your inability nor your crippleness or they have the mercy and the grace to afford you to eat there, knowing that you're crippled.
Right. And he said, when your mother and father
forsake you,
me, then the Lord will take you up.
Yes.
And that's exactly what David did. Nurse dropped him, but the Lord used David to lift him.
Lift him up.
So if you're a man out there and you've been dropped, and you don't have the father figure, you've never had a father, your mother, and you kind of feel like you've been out there by yourself, God will use the hands of other people to place you in a place to become fully nourished.
That's right. And not only did he nourish him, David gave him a full-time servant to nurse him. He gave him land to have. He gave him his own place in the kingdom, a room. He wanted for nothing. So we don't fully understand the provision that David had afforded unto Mephibosheth.
So great.
And that even if Mephibosheth couldn't walk and do what he needed to do on his own,
he had all the components.
Oh my goodness, so good.
That's so good.
He had the components of being whole.
Yes.
See, and so sometimes in your weak areas or the areas of your inability or your disability, God will give components that will bring wholeness back to you.
I love that. And we see there's other examples, but one specific person who got back up. We're going to end and talk about this, honey, that, the man who got up. And you know where I'm going with this. This is John 5 and 8. And he was the man who was at the pool of Bethesda, and he had been there. and Jesus, and he couldn't get back in. Oh, you want to tell? Go ahead.
Keep going.
Walk through it.
Go ahead, keep going. Keep going.
He had no man to put him in. He encountered Jesus,
Right.
and Jesus, asked him, "Will thou be made whole?" And that will is like, do you want to be? Do you want to be whole? So that was the prerequisite. Like Jesus was given the solution in the question.
Yeah.
Because he had to check his mindset
I want to give you
out.
some context on that pool.
Go ahead.
That pool was not built by Jewish. It was built by Greeks. And the Greeks built these pools. They were called therapeutic pools.
Wow.
And they built these therapeutic pools in honoring to their god Escapulus. Escapulus is the same god, is the one that represents the snake. So when you see the medical thing with the snake like that,
I see.
so they would make these pools, they would make these sweat areas,
Right.
and what they believed is that when the pool, the spring, the hot water came through there, it was therapy. It was therapeutic. So what transpired is that he was depending on something that Greeks created in order for him to be healed.
Wow.
So he was looking at a foreign opportunity in
Right.
order to get the wholeness that he needed.
Wow.
So when Jesus says, "Wilt thou be made whole?" he was not only challenging his thought process, but he was challenging the culture that was built around it. So if I can get in that pool, which was designed in honoring of Escapulus, a Greek god, which represented the snake. So Jesus turned it around to where your dependency is not on the pool, nor on something that was built for an unknown god or an unknown idol.
Right.
Your dependency should totally be on me. And if
Right.
I give you the opportunity to be made whole, I am going against what that culture has designed
Right.
in order for you to get whole, to get into that pool.
Right.
I'm redirecting your
Right.
focus from that culture to me.
Right. So in layman's term, that's like saying the liquor store,
Ooh,
the bars, the strip club.
Yes.
Yes. All of those places that are supposed to be the weed shop. All of those places where people are coping and going to deal with their issues or to get help or to get medication or get healing.
Yes.
It doesn't work.
It does not work. It does not work.
And so
it does not work.
That's kind of like what I heard.
At
you
100%. And Jesus is actually challenging the cultural norm.
Right.
He's challenging the cultural norm.
Right.
That while you are seeking after other measures, and those other measures have failed, and notice he was there for a long time, and no one would help him to get into the water.
Right. Well, because they were all lame too.
And here's another thing. It was said that the Bible said it was said that if they get in there, it was not a guarantee.
Word on the street.
That's what we miss. It was said that if they get in there.
Right.
So it was not a guarantee that,
a lotto.
That if he would get in there, that he would be made whole. That's not even nowhere in the scripture.
Right.
It was said that if they get in there, that an angel would stir the water, which really was a wellspring. It was a spring water well.
Right.
And so those are the things that what happens is that if we just settle, if we settle for the norm of what society says, that's the only option that you have, you will not be able to recognize that there is another viable option in order for you to get up.
And Jesus has a plan for us to get up, and that's what we have to know that and believe that.